Wambui Richardson, Artistic Director of the Jubilee Theatre, now celebrating its 40th season. That's right, our 40th season. In celebration of our current production, HooDoo Love by Katori Hall, join us for P.S. I Love You conversations as we meet with and talk with couples young and old as we all explore this phenomenal question of how do we love in the 21st century?
Once again, we're bringing you another P.S. I Love You episode from Jubilee Theatre. I'm Christy Howard, the Managing Director, and I have with me Michael and Anita High School. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just going to hop right on in. Tell us how you guys met.
Well, we met at a party. A mutual friend of ours introduced us. She was a good friend of my brother, my younger brother. And he had a party one time at his home many years ago, and she brought along Anita, and we met, and that was an instantaneous attraction. And the rest is history, as they say.
Well, she's a beauty, so I can see why. I can see why.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, every love story, I believe, has its turning point where you go from hearts and flowers to you just make a choice that this is where we're going to be. When did that happen for you guys?
Well, we've been married now. We're going on 21 years. So, everybody knows marriage is not easy. It is what you make it. But the one thing that I love about my husband is that even though we've been married 21 years, even when I still look at him, I still get that flutter in my heart. This is true. And this is probably something he hadn't heard me say before, but I still get that flutter. And I say, I am so proud to have him as my husband. I am so proud to have him.
Wow, see, that's never heard that before, the flutter. I heard that many years ago. I didn't know that was still going on in our heart, fluttering. So that's good to know because the same exists for me as well. One of the things about her that I love a great deal is the fact that she always seeks to improve herself and thus improving our marriage. I love it when she works on being her best self, whether it's on personal goals and achievements through her newfound profession and career. That's impressive to me that she's always trying to make those improvements. And of course, coming along with that, the improvements in our relationship and our being parents of our young men and my daughter. So all of that rolled into one makes it a happy marriage, and I'm so happy to have her.
And if I can piggyback on that, Christy, what I always say is if you're not friends, you have to be friends first, and you have to remain friends. And a lot of the things that I love about my husband is we have fun, we laugh. People sometimes meet him and they think he's not fun or so professional, but he is so much fun, and he makes me laugh, and we have a good time. And I think that is what makes a part of having a happy marriage and a good relationship. You have to be friends.
It's funny you say that. Chris and I laugh a lot. It makes the days so much easier, particularly those days when we don't always really like one another too much. There's really something in such a place that grace and forgiveness really lie in relationships. And if you don't mind sharing with us, how do you exercise grace and forgiveness in your relationship?
Well, I think it's a matter of recognizing the truth, not always trying to follow your lead, how you personally feel about an issue, but trying to see both sides of it. I can get very one-sided at times in my arguments with her. Being a lawyer, I think I'm trying to win an argument with my wife, but that's not the right approach. I have to look at it from her perspective and try to take a step back and say, okay, she is correct in how this is being perceived by others and in addition to ourselves. So in doing so, is taking that measured tone and being very slow to say, okay, let me respond in an appropriate fashion and not fly off the handle and be too emotional about things. So I've learned that over time, maturity, that brings a lot to a marriage.
Humility. Being able to, put other people's feelings before yours and not always having to be right. You know, a lot of us we have to be right. And so when you feel like you have to be right, you don't take the time to listen to actually what the other person is saying. So I think it's taking the time, just to listen and know that you have to fight fair. And you have to fight fair. And he is absolutely right. He comes a lot of times with that lawyer, and I'm like, we're not in the courtroom, we're at home. So all of that, but just humility. I think that's really important to have, to be able to say, hey, I don't have to be right all the time. Let me listen and fight fair.
Yeah, very important.
Oh, great. So we're all living this COVID lifestyle, which has put a damper. I know for you, Miss Anita, you don't let any grass grow under your feet. So how have you guys managed during this time to keep the love alive? The house gets really close quarters sometimes. How does that work for you?
Well, I'm going to start this one off, Christy. Okay, so with COVID for me has been great. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because my husband is extremely busy. He's gone a lot. He leaves early. He comes home late. And since COVID has been around, we have gotten to know each other all over again. We spend so much time together. And I love it. I think it's great because it's like we're reinventing things and getting to know each other all over again. And then with our boys being gone and we're empty nesters, it has been amazing. So it has been a great thing for me. Now, I don't know about him. How's it?
No, it's great. It's been great. That empty nester factor plays a big part in this, because for the first time in many years, we are alone, and we can look after each other, not have to worry daily about our young boys. I was pleasantly surprised as to how my lovely wife reacted to it. I thought she would be much more chagrined and upset about it, but she's taken it in stride, thankfully, and we're having fun together and watching movies and reading our books and taking our little jaunts down to the country, doing things like that together. So it's brought us closer together.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Mr. High School, you had alluded to your wife's new leash on life, her new career that she's developing. Sometimes, and particularly as you raise a family, you find partners who say, I've lost myself as an individual. How have you combated that? And then do you like the person that you see now, who is inevitably not that same person you saw 20 years ago?
Oh, I love it. I love her growth and her trying to pursue this field and pursuing this field and doing so successfully. So as I stated earlier, I love watching her grow and mature and have these goals and striving to reach those goals. It's one thing to try to do something and give up easily, but she's been very persistent, very focused, and I'm loving what I'm seeing in that aspect of her, and that's going to lead to success. So I'm very, very proud of her, very proud.
And also too, Christy, I think my husband and I, we live what I call supportive love, very supportive of one another. I went through all the years of raising the boys and busy with him being busy and doing what he needed to do. And what I'm doing now, I had kind of started doing it some years ago, but I was just giving it away. Doing it is fun. And when I went to him and talked to him about it, and he was so supportive of me, backing me 100% about what I wanted to do. And I think that's a part of relationships and a part of love too, is you have to support each other and help each other build your dreams.
Correct.
And so it's been wonderful, and he has been supportive. He is supportive, and I know he's going to be supportive through anything and everything that I do, as well as I do for him.
Correct. Yeah, she's been very supportive of me in my career, understanding when I work late and have to do things that takes me away from her and our issues. But she understands that, and I love that fact that she understands it and does not give me any issue about it, just knowing that it's all for the better good down the road. And I'm working to make sure that our family is protected and we have the unity necessary to go forward.
Amazing. I'm going to slide one question in here because, you guys have got 20 years in this. What are words of wisdom for young couples, for people who are thinking they want to be married one day, for people who think that I may be looking at the one? Give us a word of wisdom to marital success.
Well, there's a quote from this German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, and it states, "It is not the lack of love, but the lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages." And I think at its core, that's what a successful marriage is all about. That is the friendship. You have to learn to like one another, be friends with one another, as well as yourself for that matter. But without that, the love part, the passion that can be inflamed, that can go out, those embers can be dampened, and then don't have that happy marriage. But with the friendship, that's the basic core of it. And recognizing that you are friends, and as friends, you rely upon one another, you trust one another. And without that, there's no happy marriage.
I concur.
Oh, that was good. You did good. She has nothing else to say. That's wonderful.
Okay.
So last but not least, basically what you said is literally a love song in itself. But if you had to identify a love song that spoke to your relationship, your marriage, your friendship, what would that song be? And it doesn't just have to be one. We had to split down the middle. We both had two.
I think we have two. We have two.
Okay.
Mine is At Last. Etta James. At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song.
Oh.
Okay. My love song that I've always cherished, and I think is underrated, let me put it that way, when you look at the top love songs in our history, it's Love Times Love by George Benson. For those old heads, old school folks, you know who George Benson is.
Sing it for him, baby.
Well, I can't sing, but I recall the lyrics that two hearts that beat as one, two high hearts. It feels so good to be close to you, and you're by my side. And the way he sings that song, the melody, the lyrics just speak to my heart and speaks to our relationship. Love times love, love times love. Our hearts beat as one.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Miss Zeiskell, for sharing time with us. I really appreciate it. And just so you know, my first date with my honey was a George Benson concert.
Oh, wow. That's great.
It sure was.
Oh, that's great.
George Benson concert.
Well, Christian, you're dating yourself now. You don't look that old.
I love the music my parents listen to. This new generation and their music, they are not going to have anything.
You're right.
Age, bless their hearts. But no, that was definitely our first date, and it sounds like we're off to a good start if we can last half as long as you guys have. So again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you so much for your support of Jubilee. I can always count on you guys. And again, and I think Wambui is going to join you this evening. So if you need someone to make some comments for your Valentine's sip and stroke, he'll be there this evening to make some comments. But again, thank you both. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited. And I can't wait for everyone else to hear your story.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope that you all have enjoyed these conversations with us as we dig deeper into what does it take to love in the 21st century. Now, for more information about Jubilee Theatre as we celebrate our 40th season, please go to jubileetheatre.org. If you're interested in purchasing a ticket for HooDoo Love, please go to vimeo.com. Now, for those of you that are able to in these tough economic times, please consider making a donation to Jubilee Theatre. Please know that every dollar counts as we move forward into this new season. We've been here for 40 years, and with your help, your aid, your love, and your assistance, we will be here for another 40 years.